Shields up, Iron Breakers. Rurikhan here coming at you with another video, and today we're going to be talking about Monster Hunter World. More specifically, we're going to be talking about the sword and shield. As with every weapon video that I've done so far, this is intended to give you guys some notions as to how this weapon works, show you a couple of interesting moves, as well as provide you with a reason as to why you should use this weapon over any other in the game. And I know there is this notion that the sword and shield weapon is the newbie's weapon. It is the weapon that they use to start out. As a matter of fact, the tutorial itself will say it when you pick up this weapon for the first time. This is a great starter weapon, but let me make one thing perfectly clear. It is a great starter weapon, it is an awesome weapon to continue with, and it is a fantastic weapon to finish with. This weapon is great all over, not just as a starter weapon. This is hands down the most versatile weapon in the game, allowing you to deal both impact damage with your shield as well as slashing damage with your sword, allowing you to utilize items while your weapon is drawn, and also allowing you to repeatedly apply status effects. All of these things combined together will make you an unstoppable killing machine, regardless of whether or not people believe that this is a starter weapon, because it is so much more than that. And if you watch this video all the way, you will learn exactly that. This is one lean, mean killing machine. Now let's get started. This right here is the sword and shield, and as you can see by looking at the top left-hand side, you don't really have to worry too much about any fancy weapon gauge. All you really got to do is make sure that your weapon is sharp and your monster's face is completely and utterly smashed into oblivion. Now, before we take a look at our offensive options, which, believe you me, there are plenty of those when it comes to sword and shield, let's talk about our defensive options, because as the name implies, you guys might think sword and shield, probably one of the best weapons to block, right? Wrong. This is most likely one of the weakest blocks in the game. The best block, in my opinion, is the lance, followed by the charged blade when the shield is charged, followed by the gun lance, and then I don't know which one is worse, if it's this one or the great swords. But either way, this is not a block that you want to rely on. Notice the big knockback effect we're going to get by blocking this simple explosive barrel. This is very little damage explosive barrel, very little impact, and yet it is sending us flying, okay? So keep that in mind. Imagine if that was a Baroth or a Diablos charge. That thing was going to hurt a whole lot more. So this right here, ladies and gentlemen, is your last resort option, okay? That means if a monster roars, you're flinching, you can feel the big one is coming, and you know you're not going to be able to dodge in time, sure thing. Pull out the shield, hit that block button, and hope for the best. But in any other situation, you dodge. Okay, this is one of the most mobile and agile weapons in the game, so you will want to make use of that. This weapon has very fast animations, which means you can come up to a monster, slash twice, dodge, come up to a monster, smash him with a shield twice, dodge. So it's very easy to dodge. Even the fastest of monsters in the game, you will be able to dodge them just fine with this weapon, which is why they like to call it a starter weapon. But it is so much more than that. So now that we understand that we're supposed to dodge more often than block, let's get into our offensive. So the basic combo is your triangle combo, which is basically chop into side slash into sword and shield combo. 3 inputs, 4 attacks, pretty decent. And also you'll notice that having high affinity on this weapon is very beneficial because you're going to be getting a lot of critical hits. And as I say that, the game is giving me like no critical hits. There you go. That was a critical. But yeah, you can get a lot of critical hits with this weapon because of its sheer speed. Therefore, affinity is going to be something that you're really going to be benefiting from. But that was your basic combo. So if you're standing still, you have access to another input, which will give you an additional hit on your combo, which is starting that combo from a blocking position. That gives you access to Rising Slash, which effectively will combo into Chop. So you can do Rising Slash and Chop, and there you go. It is now 5 hits on that particular combo. So if you're starting this combo from a not moving position, so to speak, if you want to stand still, you want to always start it with the blocking attack because you're just going to be dealing more hits. Now, another option that you have available to you to go to that combo is the Advancing Slash. Now, Advancing Slash is a really good move because it also works as a gap closer, which means if the monster's standing still, you're gonna have to like move back before you perform it. So usually, if the monster's standing still and you want to stand still, you want to go for that blocking start that I told you earlier. But if you can't afford to go into the advancing slash, you should do it because it is actually going to add 2 hits to your combo. Another important bit of information is advancing slash, as you can see, is done by pressing triangle and circle. You can also do advancing slash by attacking from your sheath position. That means that is your draw attack, and that makes me so happy because you guys know that I like to run around the field of battle, the hunting grounds, and I like to slash away at my monsters with the drawn attack. And with the sword and shield, it makes this particularly exceptional because, as you will see, you go from this. Actually, I messed that up because of the spiral slash, which we will get into the spiral slash. But you can go from this into sword, shield bash, into chop, so it effectively adds 2 hits to that particular combo. But we did something there called the spiral slash. So what's that about? Well, the sword enables you to essentially perform an infinite combo using triangle if you swap the direction of your attack. This is particularly useful because it allows you to adapt to the ever-evolving situation in the hunting grounds. So say, for instance, there was a monster in front of me, and I was attacking it, right? Suddenly he jumps behind me. I can turn around and continue my combo. Now he jumped to the other way. I can turn around again, continue the combo. He went left. I can turn around, continue the combo. He went behind me, turn around, continue the combo. So every single time in the middle of the triangle combo that you input a different direction than your character is facing, it will give you a 2-hit combo that will change the direction of your regular combo, and then it will proceed into the chop, side slash, short, sword, and shield. Okay? So keep that in mind because sometimes it's confusing because you input different directions in the middle of a fight and you're like, why is my character doing that? It's because it's designed to work like that. So like you're attacking like this, monster comes to your right side, you can do that. Monster goes behind you, you can do that, and you can continue to attack. See, because one of the greatest strengths of the sword and shield is how fast you can adapt to everything and how often you can be hitting the monster. Okay, so now that you know all about those triangle attacks and all of the different variations thereof that enable you to also switch directions as you are attacking and all of that stuff, let's talk about your circle button. So, circle grants you access to 3 slashes. 1, 2, 3. And if you continue pressing circle after that, you're going to get a back step. We will talk about the back step in a bit. The other thing that you need to keep in mind is that these are slashing attacks. However, if you input a direction when you use your circle button, you're going to use your shield instead of your sword. When in my case, it's an axe, okay? I get it, guys, but it's supposed to be a sword, okay? But anyway, you're going to be using your shield instead of your sword, and that is important because instead of slashing damage, you're going to be dealing impact damage. Impact damage is the kind of damage that if you hit in the monster's head, translates into KO damage, which will enable you to bring the monster down by staggering it, exhausting it, all of those different effects that you got with the hammer as well as the hunting horn. You can get those with the sword and shield by using these attacks. Like I said, these are basically inputting a direction on your circle before you start the combo, and that'll grant you access to those shield attacks. And if you keep pressing circle at the end, you will once again go into backstep. Okay? Now, an important thing about all of these circle attacks that I just told you guys about is that you can input those at the end of your triangle combo. So if you go here, 1, 2, 3, 4 sword and shield combo, if at the end of that you start pressing circle, you're going to continue that combo into the slashing hits and eventually into the backstep, okay? Or if you want to do it with the shield, you go 1, 2, 3, 4, sword and shield, then you go shield attack, shield bash, and eventually into backstep. You just have to introduce that that movement at the end so that you actually aim your analog stick somewhere to do the shield attack instead of the regular slash. Okay, so that enables you to do some pretty hefty combos because I was just doing the basic triangle version. But if you really think about it, that means you can do the advancing slash into short shield bash, chop, side slash, sword, shield combo, shield attack, shield bash, hard bash, and backstep. Okay? So, I know, it's a little bit too much. All you need to understand is by the time you get to that hit with the shield, this right here, the sword and shield combo hit, you can combo that into your circle and extend that combo, which is pretty useful when the monster's down, when the monster's paralyzed, when the monster is disabled by any means whatsoever. You can extend that combo and keep going. So, now that we've talked about the whole combo, the whole shebang, the circle attacks, all of that, I still haven't mentioned Rurikhan. What's the deal with that backstep? Okay. So let's talk about that. At the end of that third hit, you press circle again, you go into the backstep. If you just let go, it does an advancing slash. Now you can cancel that in case you want to actually dodge away from the monster. You can just spam circle, and as it does that, you can hit back and it will stop and do a rising slash. So you hit back on the analog stick and your character will stop and just do a rising slash in place instead of jumping back into the fray. However, if you want to jump back into the fray, you can charge that attack. So, for instance, you're going 1, 2, 3, backstep, hold circle. Oh, that's pretty sweet. It will then do a scaling slash, which essentially enables you to actually mount monsters or actually do more impact damage. So this is an interesting thing about the sword and shield, that particular move. So the way you get to that, like I said, is after the 3 attacks. You do that, you're good to go. However, there are other ways of getting to that particular slash. One of those ways is, for instance, dodging. So say the monster's in front of you, you want to do a charge slash, you feel like dodging, you go dodge, circle, right into the back step, into the charge slash. Okay, so anytime you dodge and press circle, your character is going to do that charge slash. That's one of the easy ways of getting to the charge slash. The other way of getting to the charge slash is in the middle of any combo that you happen to be doing, press back and circle, and your character will start on the back step, which will then lead you into the charge slash. So say, for instance, I'm going back circle, and there we go. You get the back step, you get the charge slash. Or you just go one attack, back circle, there you go. Or you do one circle attack, back circle. Anything you do, you can chain into back circle to get the charge slash. So advancing slash, back circle. Okay, so keep that in mind. Now, what are your options once you actually perform the charge slash? First, I gotta actually hit something with it, huh? How about that? That's pretty useful. So, you can press triangle again to do a jumping slash. This is fairly basic. You've done this with pretty much every other weapon in the game. This deals mounting damage, thus enabling you to mount a monster after performing it. Okay? So you can mount monsters using that. However, let's say you're trying to really KO a monster down by using the shield attacks that I mentioned previously. You've been hitting it in the head with the shield, and you're really trying to just bring it down rather than mount it. Maybe you've mounted it 2-3 times already, and you know the next mount is quite a bit of way, and you're just trying to deal more impact damage. Well, when you get to the charge slash portion of your combo, or say you actually just want to straight go into charge slash, you can actually press circle as you're coming down, and your character will slam the monster down with your shield, and that will deal impact damage. So if you're able to land that on the monster's head, you might be able to get yourself some more impact damage that way. However, it is important to mention that from my testing, you cannot mount a monster with this particular attack. So while you can mount if you use the triangle, right, you cannot mount if you are using the shield attack. At least I don't believe so, because I tried mounting a Great Jagras earlier because I wanted to test this out, and I spammed it on him and nothing happened. So I'm pretty sure you can't mount monsters with this. But it's still pretty damn useful for dealing impact damage, and it's pretty damn satisfying when you actually land that. So let's talk about the sword's aerial game now that we've went through all of these different things that you can do. The aerial game of the sword is pretty basic with the sliding attack. You get the jumping advancing slash, which then you can get into a regular jumping slash. Unfortunately, I thought you would be able to go from this into the same shield smash, but no. If you press circle while you are doing that attack, it is just going to give you still the jumping slash. Oops, sorry. Press that a little bit too fast, but if you go triangle, circle, it is still going to be a jumping slash. There is no option for you to actually use your shield on the falling down attack. You do jumps, again, pretty basic, jumping slash, that's all you're going to get. However, when it comes to the mushrooms, you're going to have the option to perform an advancing slash. That's going to deal a unique attack, which is that little plunging, it's called the Helm Breaker. Pretty good. Pretty sure this is going to deal mounting damage, even though I personally haven't really used it. I haven't had the chance to use this attack on monsters yet, but it seems like it's pretty damn powerful, and it also looks pretty damn sweet. So this is an attack that I personally want to be using quite a bit when I am using the sword and shield. So now that we've gone through most of your offensive options when it comes to the sword and shield, I guess it's important to remind you guys that with this particular weapon, you can use items even though you have your weapon sheathed. And that is, I guess, an important aspect of this weapon, even though, to be honest, I don't find it super important because look at how fast you can sheath your weapon compared to any other weapon in the game, you know? It sheathes like lightning and it unsheathes like lightning. So, you know, there's very little delay there. So usually I just often tend to use my items the regular way, but you can use any item you want, and this is particularly good for placing down barrel bombs and stuff like that. You might even be able to surprise certain monsters by simply, you know, they're staggering a little bit and all of a sudden you just go up to them. I actually don't have barrel bombs on me, but let's say this was a barrel bomb. You can just go up to a monster and boop, and barrel bombs down, you know. All you got to do to use your items is you press R2 to block, and this grants you access to your inventory. So say you want to pop a potion, boop. Crap, I actually used the mega potion. I thought I had full health and that I wasn't going to use it. But as you can see, he will do it with his weapon still drawn. You can also do that with herbal medicine. You can do it with rations. You can still run by pressing R1 while doing it. But, you know, ideally, the whole point is that you get to keep your weapon unsheathed. You can also use your sling. You just press L2, even with your weapon sheath. If you notice, I'm not sure if you guys can see it properly, but our character is still wielding the weapon, and you can shoot stuff. This is actually, in my opinion, one of the more useful things, because you don't have to sheath your weapon in order to shoot. See, that makes a difference. Like the flashing and all that stuff, that makes massive difference, because you can flash faster than anyone else who's got their weapon drawn, okay? But yeah, you can use any item, just about anything that you can do while your weapon is sheathed. You can do it while your weapon is unsheathed by pressing block and using that item. Or if it is a slinger item, just press L2 and shoot and do whatever the hell you want. Blocking also enables you to perform certain blocking attacks. I already showed you guys the rising slash. You can also do the guard slash, which is basically a slash that keeps you in a blocking position. I don't tend to use this very often because, again, like I said, this is not the best weapon for blocking, so I don't find that particular move super useful. So now that you know the inner workings of the sword and shield, I would like to reiterate the importance of status ailments as well as elemental weaknesses of your foes. Because unlike with other weapons, sword and shield, you're going to have a little bit of a tougher time getting by with the sheer raw damage of the weapon, because it's not a super high damaging weapon. This is a weapon that relies on repeated blows on your foes. And while there are other weapons that also rely on that I've touched upon before, most of those weapons can actually get by on the sheer damage of the weapon itself. Whereas the sword and shield, in order to really excel at it, you're going to have to take advantage of elemental weaknesses and status ailments. Status ailments in particular is something I really like to take advantage with the sword and shield because of just how often you get to hit your enemies. As a matter of fact, in the fight that you guys are watching in the back, I'm fighting against Odogaron, which is actually a pretty tough opponent. We're fighting this in high rank. And it's like I'm basically abusing the crap out of him because my weapon has the paralysis effect and he is vulnerable to paralysis. And on top of paralysis, I'm also able to inflict impact damage to his face. So he's either paralyzed or he's about to get knocked down or he's exhausted. And this gives you a tremendous advantage. So knowing your foes is going to be super useful whenever you are using sword and shield. This is a weapon that I want to be using with paralysis effects, poison effects, sleep effects. I actually like to focus more on status ailments. That's not to say the weapon is not really good if you even go after elemental stuff like fire and lightning and all of that. Going after the elemental opposite of your foe is going to really shine when it comes to sword and shield. But anyway, I just really wanted to make sure that you guys understood that, because if you just go with pure raw damage, sure, you can do fine by using the tips that I've given in this video and really making full use of the sword. You can be just fine with that, but ultimately, it is a more technical weapon than that, you know? And utilizing its strengths to your benefit is going to significantly impact how fast you bring a monster down and how much you are in control of that particular fight. Thank you very much for watching this video. Let me know what you think about it in the comment section below, and I'll see you guys in the next one.